Welcome to the Adapt Podcast, a podcast for executive leaders looking to be successful in the digital age. Get practical tips from successful leaders and listen as digital movers and shakers talk about how they transformed companies into the digital era. Here is your host, Luis Gonzalez.
Welcome to another episode of the Adapt Podcast. Today I have Rui Soares Negrões with me. Rui is a good friend, a colleague of mine, and I had the opportunity to spend some time working a bit with him. And Rui is the head of digital bank in Caixa Geral de Depósitos, the biggest Portuguese bank. And today I'm very excited to talk with Rui because since he's working in the traditional bank, it's very, very interesting to see his opinions. And during this show, as you know, most of us are working from home because of COVID. And Rui has a nice friend dog that you will hear time to time. So sorry about that, guys, but it's part of our daily life nowadays. So don't be upset with us. Rui, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for being here. And man, it's a really, really a great pleasure to have you here in the show.
Okay, Luis, thank you so much for receiving me here in your house. And the most clever comments will be made by my dog. Be sure of it, because she is clever than me. Sorry for any interruption between our conversation, but as you mentioned, Luis, this is our new reality: is mixing your professional and your individual life. So it's common. It's our new normal.
but that's the best, because this podcast is about digital transformation and about the new ways of working. So it's perfect. It's a perfect combination. Rui, do you mind to give us like a 2-3 minutes introduction about yourself to our audience so that they know who is Rui and what have you been doing during the last years?
Okay, so I'm a non-digital native, so I have more than 50 years. First of all, basically, I've worked most of my life in the financial sector, in banking, in leasing companies, and covering from sales, from operations, marketing, IT, also development, and BD also. Last couple of years, I've been devoted to digital transformation and handling either the digital channels at CGD, so running the business, as well as the most challenging job, that is changing and transforming the business, or trying to transform the business, with running the digital transformation program of CGD that is started 4 years ago. As I mentioned normally in my presentations, it's not digital transformation, is business transformation using digital.
Wow, that's a good one that I will pick it up for the next couple of questions. That's actually very interesting, because a lot of people believe that they want to do digital transformation without taking or thinking about the business, how they will change the business itself. So that's a very, very good one. Thank you so much, Rui. So I want to start this one asking the most typical question that I usually ask, because digital transformation, it's like a buzzword. Everyone's talking about it, but everyone has a different definition of it. So I really would like to start this show by asking you, what is digital transformation for you? What is the sense? What do you think that digital transformation means for companies?
Okay, it's not technology. But it's powered by technology.
Good.
Okay, basically it's a mindset. I think it's a mindset, a change in mindset, the way you think business, the way you process business, the way you think customers, the way we deliver service to customers. It's a mindset, really, and it's powered by technology, because technology gives you the way, the tools to do it. As I normally say, the technology is not the end by itself; it's a means to an end. So basically, it enables you. So digital transformation, yes, it's enabler. It's and most of the people are focused in technology, but technology is not the end of it. It empowers you to do. the transformation, empowers you to serve customers in a different way, to build things and services and products in a different way. But it's not the alpha and omega of this transformation. It enables you to do that. I think this transformation is basically the way you think about customers and bring customers to your organization and put them in the center of your organization. This customer center buzzword is almost a common thing to say, but basically it's putting everybody in the business value, thinking about customer and delivering service to the customer. And obviously enabled by technology, because technology gives you the way to collect feedback from customers quickly, to see what customers are doing immediately, instantaneously, allowing you to test and learn quickly when you launch a product in the market or a service in the market. Not only do a switch a little bit the product and service that you deliver to customers. So it's an enabler to do that and to bring the customer as the center of your organization.
That's very, very interesting, because you are touching on that topic. And a couple of weeks ago, I had a discussion with a person that she was saying, no, with the whole this digital transformation, the whole technology, aren't you afraid that the customer will be forgotten? And that's a very interesting approach of what you said, the definition, because this is exactly
all the way around.
Yeah.
Exactly the opposite of
Exactly.
Exactly.
So I think now it's exactly the other way around. So the customer should be always in the center, and we only use technology to really fulfill their needs and to really figuring out what can we do in a way that we can provide a better service, a better experience for the customer. But it's a very important topic, because it's not the first time that people ask me, but now we are talking about transformation, digital, so much about technology. There is no risk for us to forget the customer, and that I loved the topic.
Yeah, and people are, sorry to interrupt, but the people normally speak about okay, let's big data, blockchain, DLT, whatever, and those buzzwords, and it's at the end of the day, doesn't matter. It's irrelevant, the technology, in the sense that it's not the focus of what you should do. Okay, it only empowers you to do and serve customers in a different way. Okay?
I even have it's not another opinion, but something to build on top of it. I think the customer was always in the center of everything. The big difference is now, being digital, we have much more the time to receive feedback is much shorter. So we get almost immediately feedback if something is working or not. And before, because we did not have the speed to acquire this feedback, we could spend months doing stuff that we did not have this feedback. And most of the times we were providing service or products that did not really solve any meaningful product. But that in today's world, we still have the customer in the center. The big difference is now we know it in a really fast way if we are not providing a good service for the customer, right? I wanted to add on top of what you said is the customer was always there, but the digital era or digital age allow us to receive a much faster feedback and allowing us to build something much more interesting that really is relevant for our customers.
It empowers the customer as well as empowers you to understand the customer. Okay, so it's both ways.
Rui, from your point of view, so as we already said, you work in CGD, it's the biggest Portuguese bank. How do you see the digital era? So what are the biggest advantage that you see now for more traditional banks, let's say, or the banks that are in the industry, in the market for so long? What are the big advantage that you guys have now, that you can access now, that it was not possible some years ago?
I think what the main thing, the main most relevant thing is what we said before. We can understand and have a clear view about the customer needs and the customer what customer is deciding in each moment, and capture quickly and with more deep what's in the customer head. Let me put it like that. So you grow, you have grown enlarge the information that you get about what the customer thinks, what the customers do, and what he likes, what he doesn't like. So it in fact empowers you to know better the people that you are serving, and can quickly adapt the way you serve them. I think that's the big difference from our point of view, from a legacy bank, from a historical bank. It as you mentioned before, it is instantaneously. You instantaneously know and receive feedback. Okay, and that's the big difference, because in the old days it's not like that, because it was analog. So the time to get information and the deepness of that information was not
accessible.
instantaneously. Yes, so you have more. So it's deep, and it's more with speed time to market. Okay, that's a big difference. That's one of the major difference from the past. I think nowadays, basically, what we also are, and we are most of the times we are speaking about front ends and servicing customer, but to serve to serve customers, you need to have a efficient process. And one of the things that is changing also, that is what is enabling our banks and traditional banks, is to drive efficiency on the process. Nowadays, it's you don't need most of the things that you have done in the bank on last 10 and 20 years are being automatized, either by the basic RPAs, okay, so DAM RPAs, but you are moving for a second level, so with intelligence, automation with intelligence, and with prediction. So we are moving fast and fast in terms of how we deliver things to and what's behind the scenes. And that's a second change. It's not just the front end; it's what's behind that front end and the processes, and what took us too much time and too much people and too much errors in the past. Now you can speed up and shrink the processes and gain efficiencies in there. I think there's the two main differences on what how we're doing things in the past and we are doing things now, and that's the big transformation that we are facing.
Well, and you have a really great example in CGD, right? So you have a fantastic software chatbot helping you with a lot of the customer care, customer help, right? And I myself tried it, and it's impressive. It's really it really seems that you have a human in other side of the monitor, and in reality it's just a really highly sophisticated software that is helping you tremendously to optimize so much on the operation side, on the cost side, right? So it's very, very interesting.
Yeah, and it's in fact it's in the conversation with you. Sometimes he or she, I don't know how it's it makes some jokes also. Or is gaining some kind of humor also, and that's very nice. And basically, it's not just the question as I mentioned of efficiency. Is also the question of you get a quick service, you get the right service, and you have a right humor to answer your questions.
Yes.
And that's and the customer service quick and with less errors also. That's important also.
Yeah, because nowadays it's so important speed, right? Because
Yeah,
in today's era, customers don't have patience to wait anymore. What we
yeah,
could before we could wait a couple of minutes, now we want instantaneously answers
yeah.
in couple of seconds. So that's very, very, very important to have
We
this.
want it now. We want it now and now. Now, it's when I need it now. I want to answer now. I don't want to wait. You
Exactly.
don't have to go through a script and see what's in there. No, give me an answer and solve my problem now immediately. And that is kind of solutions. In AI basically are driving this transformation. And we launched in the digital assistant. We launched it in the beginning of pandemic. In fact, in January 2020, so last year, and basically 800,000 people already tested and use it.
Wow.
It's a huge number, and
It's
I think
actually
that
it's a damn big number. So for people that are not from Portugal,
yes,
800,000 people, it's
yes,
8% of the entire population of the country. So
exactly.
it's a huge number. It's really, really
Yeah.
fascinating. Good. So we discussed a little bit about the advantage. Now let's turn it to the dark side of it. So and so as a traditional bank, what do you think that are the biggest challenges that traditional companies can face or will face with
Mhm.
this digital age that is already
Mhm.
coming and it's already here?
As a good Portuguese, I can speak more about the drawbacks than the good things. So, how much time do we have on this podcast?
It's a very
No.
Portuguese. It's a very Portuguese
Yes,
thing. I
that's
agree.
important. Yes, yes. So let me be a little bit more English or German and less Portuguese, and stick with two things, just two things. As I mentioned, two things on the positive side, two things on the negative side, or at least two things we should address. One thing is basically mindset. So we are the all companies, big companies are organized in a way that is organized in silos. We are organized in value chain, starting from inside out. So we think about product and service before thinking about customer, and this is in each of the departments of any big organization. The most important thing is how can I survive in this environment, thinking about my product, my part of the value chain, and the customer is lost in this kind of thinking.
Approach. Yeah, kind of approach.
Approach.
Yeah.
So it's lost there because I think about on my part of the process, and I'm optimizing my product on my part of the product on my part of the process of the product. Okay, or if I'm compliance, I want to be assured that nobody is going to bother me because I didn't comply with any kind of thing. So I'm strict with that. So the focus is not customer. The focus is thinking on my point of departure, my department through to and deliver that to on a big value chain. And that's the thing, the mindset, and the way we think about the process and the business process.
But I think it this is a very, very, very common problem. So actually, when I usually talk about these topics and people ask me what are the biggest barriers, the mindset is the biggest one that I immediately mention.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to go a little bit deeper on what you said.
Mm-hmm.
I really think that the structure of the company it's
Yeah,
a problem. Okay, and this
yeah.
is my personal opinion. Not everyone agrees with me, but I really believe, and that's why I struggle quite a lot, and I speak a lot about this topic, and I say even startups that are popping up now and they are growing and they are appearing now, they are using industrial age principles to design their companies, because
Mm-hmm.
after the moment that they build a company based on departments, they
Yeah.
are already, in my opinion, building a company using these industrial age principles, and
Mm-hmm.
that worked pretty well 100 years ago, where you have
Mm-hmm.
where you had a manufacturing industry, but for
Mm-hmm.
service, and you were optimizing mainly your company for cost reduction.
Mm-hmm.
In today's
Yeah.
world, in the digital era, you want to optimize for speed, time to market. So the
Mm-hmm.
way how you need to build your company is in a completely different way. And as you said, I think you need to to build it around value streams, not around functional departments with the customer in the
Exactly.
center.
Mm-hmm.
And that seems so small, but it's a
Mm-hmm.
huge revolution, because if you go to any business school, they still teach you what they were
Yeah.
teaching you 20, 30 years ago, and they are basically teaching you how to build a company that is not ready to survive or to nourish
Mm-hmm.
this digital era. And that makes a huge difference in my point of view. So
Yeah. Yeah.
thank you so much for sharing
I'm
that, because I
I'm
really agree.
yeah. Yes, I'm completely with you, completely with you, and I think it's the we even it and it's curious what you said, because it happens also in small companies, in startups
Mm.
also, because the mindset is that, and what the people learn from school, in school was that, so people are replicating what they've learned, even if it's with high tech technology. With lots of new buzzwords, but they are replicating the model of functional structure, functional silos, and that's the old way of doing things, and that's the also non-digital. That's analog process.
Yes.
That's a kind of analog process also. Okay.
Yes.
Yes, I agree. I agree. The second thing, because I told you that I want to restrict my Portuguese tendency, so I'll do two things only. It's the how can I say this, in terms of to better understand the need for the people that are most, some of the organizations, most of the people live there for too much time, so they don't they in Portugal, and namely in some big companies, people are not used to go to be there for 3 or 4 years, exit the company, getting an additional experiences, bringing talent from the exterior to the company. So it's a how to say it, almost generational process
Yes.
of evolution in the company. And basically what we are doing, what people and at the end of the day are doing, is promoting people that they know that are in the company, and putting them to the top levels, and in the way that the ideas from the exterior, people from with additional experience from the exterior, are not entering in
Yes.
that processes,
Yes. Yes.
and they are not enlarging the horizons of the people that are inside of the company. So it's a perpetual process that the mindset is the same, and you continue to promote that mindset.
And
Okay.
you don't bring so much fresh ideas, right? So it's
Exactly.
hard.
Exactly.
I still remember, it was in 2017, I think, in one of my customers in Germany. When I entered the customer the first day, I went around and I tried to get to know some people, and one of the guys said, "Oh, hello, nice to meet you. My name is Johannes. I'm in this company for 42 years old, for 42 years, right?"
Yeah.
So if I was
Mhm.
thinking at that time, no, I turned 42 this month, so it was like 3 4 years ago, I think, very interesting. You work in this
Yeah.
company for longer than my entire life,
Yeah.
right? So immediately I start to understand, this will be a very interesting
Yeah.
project, right? Because
Yeah.
the and please don't take me wrong. I'm not saying that older people don't have
Yeah.
they don't have the capacity to change things.
Yeah.
Nothing. It's not at all what we are trying to say. But
Mhm.
when you are in one company, one single company for 40 years, it's very hard to bring fresh ideas, because your
Yeah.
reality is that only reality,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So you never saw anything outside of your life, so it's
Mhm.
very hard to suggest anything else than what you,
Mhm.
you spent all your entire life
Yeah.
observing.
and there's another also an additional complexity to that is when you are in let's say in a functional department like let's say compliance, and you start there your life and you end there your life. So if even if you could change, so I'm compliance today, I'm in business tomorrow and in marketing after that and IT, so you could capture at least the different angles of the perspective of how do you see the business, and that at least that will enhance your vision and way you think about the business, even if you don't go outside of the company, but at least that you should have. And I think big companies suffer from this kind of limitation, and bringing outside vision, challenging people to go outside to experience different things, bringing people from other industries to to capture the experience of other industries in your, and using that experience in your own industry. I think also this is important for flourish new ways of thinking, new ways of delivering services, and adding value to to your company.
When I was listening to you now, I just remind myself about a conversation that I had last year with an executive in Germany. It was very, very interesting because it's going on the direction that you were talking. So he was telling me, one of the biggest problems that we face as a CEOs, and he was being very honest. And of course, he mentioned some names, but I'm not going to mention the names here of the companies. But they say one of the big issues that we are having is our companies are designed in the way that they are going to reward the people that don't take any risks. So if people are there for 5 years, they know if they don't take any risks and they do their daily job, they will continue on their own career. And in 2-3 years, they get the next promotion, the next promotion, the next promotion. So basically, we end up in the situation that we are 20, 30 years in the company. You start to get higher, 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 but you are not even a really good entrepreneur. You are a
Yeah,
really good manager, right? A risk
exactly.
manager. And unfortunately, in today's world, or for these companies to really change and to adapt, I really truly believe that we need entrepreneurs.
Yeah,
We don't need managers. Managers are those guys that will manage the risk, and they are needed as well. Not saying that they
yeah,
are
yeah.
not needed, but not the guys that will drive the change. They are not the ones. So the guy was really this executive. He was really saying this and say, we have a big problem because I want fresh blood. I want new ideas, but this will not happen because we know we have a system implemented in our organization, and our organization is just like any other organization. If they screw up, they try new ideas, and if they screw up, they will be seen as a failure. So they will not try it out. And I was, wow, was like a really haha moment. So this is really one of the things that I really believe companies need to look at it as well in the future,
Yeah.
is the way how they reward risk taking. It's very, very important if they are able to, if they want to be able to succeed in this crazy
Yeah.
competitive era.
Yeah, it's if you basically I agree with you, and I think I agree with that perspective. I think most of the incentives that we give nowadays to managers is you have to justify your job, your place, and you have to you are. Incentivized to not taking risks, in
Yeah.
fact, and not to taking risks, okay, because it's the first top of priorities is sure that your job is there, and and you are there in the job,
but
and nothing
but
happens.
I like to give this example. Some people might not agree with me, but for example, Apple, right? From my point of view, the current CEO is a brilliant, brilliant, brilliant guy on the operation side. So he was the
Yeah,
previous CEO. So from my point of view, Tim Cook is a brilliant manager, a brilliant
yeah,
manager, an horrible CEO from my point of view. So if we look, and now people might think this guy is crazy, right? Apple is making millions, and he never had so much money in the pocket like now. But again, because Tim Cook is brilliant, he knows how to optimize the whole value stream. He knows how to optimize the entire company to make money. But if we take a look into the innovation, this can be very, not everyone will agree with me, but the innovation, in my opinion, it's completely flat. They don't release anything. They just put one version on top of another version of another version, but there is nothing really innovative coming out from Apple anymore, right? So they come up now with the CPU and so on. Yes, it's good, but not comparable to what Steve Jobs was doing. And I really think this is one of the big risks when we put brilliant managers. And again, this is a completely nice case where managers are needed, but in the wrong position, I think it can be very, very, very dangerous for the organization. And I think we have too many managers in our companies and too little entrepreneurs.
I think you need both. So, but today, I think the reality of most companies is we have lots of managers and less risk takers and innovators and entrepreneurs, as you mentioned. And I think it's a good example. And I agree with you. I think the example of Apple is a very good example of this what's happening in terms of so it's as you said, it's not a question of it's bad to have good managers. No, it's good to have good managers. Yes. We have to have them.
Yes.
But you have to have more than good managers. You have to have the right balance between, because someone has to extract more value from the value streams that you have. Okay, we have to do that. But also we have to have someone that does and enables radical innovation, takes risk, and try to move forward and fail and try again. And that to do that, you need other kind of profiles, other kind of mindsets. Okay, but you need also managers. You need the right equilibrium between managers and entrepreneurs and the company, because we have to explore the streams, the value streams that you have already in place, and could add more and more and more. But it's not enough to get a company sustainable in the future in this environment.
I agree. Rui, I want to ask you something now. I have a very strong opinion that more and more I believe that really big traditional companies will have big problem in reinventing themselves. So the legacy is too big. And I truly believe more and more companies should adopt a spin-off approach, meaning they have an idea, opening a startup on the side and pursue this idea, and even killing or trying to kill the business model of the mother company. Netflix did a little bit of it. In Lisbon, we have a lot of examples like BMW and Mercedes. They are opening innovative startups, very, very dynamic, pushing a lot of innovation into the market. What do you think about that idea on the traditional banking industry? Because we see fintech is popping up. There are small companies coming up from everywhere trying to disrupt the bigger banks. Like, for example, today I have a German digital bank, and I went to buy some consultation, and I tried to pay it. It was not possible because I reached my limit. I immediately logged in my app. I changed the limit, and 2 seconds later I paid. This some years ago was impossible. Nowadays, this is the day-to-day life in a normal digital bank. What do you think about these small startups coming and disrupting the traditional banking, and how and this is your personal opinion. I don't want to put you in any tricky situation about CGD, so this is your personal opinion. How do you see the traditional banking able to tackle these new innovative startups?
I should say that in the beginning that for the initial disclaimer, everything that I said since the beginning, even the thing about my dog, it's only personal. It's not professional. So it's not my. I'm not representing here my company. I'm representing myself.
Correct.
Here.
It's only Rui.
But doing answering you in the blunt way, I've it's very difficult, in fact, for a legacy company to transform itself, because it's not a question just of technology infrastructure. Is more than that. Is the way things were built, the way you built the company. And if you have 145 years or 50 years or 80 years, you build the company in a certain way with a certain mindset, and changing this, it's not going to happen in a couple of months, years. It'll take more time than that, because it's not an easy process. How can I see this? I think that the fintechs and all the technologies are really changing and eating a little bit of our cheese. And they start in payments, and payments is the first area that was disrupted in finance, but they are moving to loans, and they are moving to deposits, and they will reach, in fact, all the all business lines in the financial sector. It's inevitable. It's not possible to avoid that. Okay, so that's the way. So we have challenges everywhere. Okay. And that's normal. That's nothing to do. The question is, we have two things to do as a legacy bank. Either one is, okay, let's use this new kind of approaches. Let me put it like that, simpler way, and incorporate them and on our operating system, and trying to move the way do you do things piece by piece, part by part, will change everything. That will take a lot of time, a lot of money, and a lot of effort, and you probably will get result in some parts of the business lines. In others, will don't. I think and we see basically what most of the banks are doing. For instance, speaking about banks, not only in Portugal, is this kind of approach. So let's have something to incorporate some of the new ways of doing things, this digital transformation, and put it in the core of our heart of our organization, and changing part by part, piece by piece. Sorry, and that's. And nobody still is the result is not measurable still.
Yeah.
Okay, but because it will take lots of time and lots of money, lots of effort, and it's not, the jury is up to decision still on that strategy. Other way is, in fact, to build, and you have good examples of that. I have one of my references that I'm following from several years is DBS in Singapore. DBS took a different kind of approach. They launched a challenger bank. In fact, they launched it in a market that they were not present. They want to explore, and they launched it as a digital bank there. And they put the people that they were running the business doing that, starting this new way of approaching. And how to say it, in this new market, it was in India. In fact, they were from Singapore. They launched in India, and they launched DigiBank. And DigiBank was a digital startup, typical fintech organization, way of doing things, infrastructure, kind of the way everything was. It was a fintech solution, a fintech born from scratch, and they started this and developed this, and then they brought the knowledge, the experience, and the people from that new bank to the old bank, and they start to how can I say this, they start to bring that experience, that knowledge, that way of doing things to the traditional bank that they had, and changing the bank that they had, and they completely address it in a different way, in the way that today they present themselves as a kind of a different kind of bank, almost a big startup. Okay, and it's a very interesting example of the other kind of strategy. You build a new company, a new bank, a challenge that in fact they were not challenging them because they were competing in different markets.
Different
so
markets, exactly.
Okay, so it was not cannibalizing them. Okay, some of the banks are the option is to bring build some new company that cannibalize their business. They were not doing that. They entered for new markets, for new areas. In this case was new country. In this case was new country, or for new markets. They build from scratch there, and then bring that knowledge to
very interesting.
own company, the owner, the basic, the original company. Let me put it like that. And in that way, I think they've promoted transformation, and they've done that for the last couple of years. I think they started this 10 years ago, something like that. And I think it's a way to combine bringing these new ways of doing things and new approaches, and putting them inside of your bank and disrupting your bank, in fact, by bringing that information.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, we see a lot of people talking the big companies only as a disadvantage, right? Oh, they are so slow, they are very traditional. But at the end of the day, the amount of data that first of all, not just the amount of data, the amount of customers, because you still have huge amount of customers. Then the data on those customers and the relationship, right? So it's something that took years to the bigger companies to acquire that, to get that. So a normal startup will not have that kind of assets, right? So it's I think it's at the end they still have huge advantage, because as you said, 800,000 using the automated chat, or the amount of customers that you have is much more than that. So in the insights that you can generate out of it, you could provide brilliant service on with a really good digital solution. So it's not just about a disadvantage, but building that digital bank. I think that is the issue, and there is no really right or wrong. So I got I discussed already with you. So one of my previous customers in Saudi Arabia, it's very interesting. So they started the bank, and actually they got the license 2 weeks ago. So now they are really a bank. They are owned by the biggest telecommunication company of the country. So that was very smart, because they were able to do piggyback on the
customer base,
customer base of the company, the mother company. So they acquired millions and millions. Right now, last time I talked with the CEO, they were having already 7 million, 8 million customers, right? But they built a digital bank from the scratch, right? And then it's kind of almost a perfect solution, because you have a bigger company, a mother company that has the customer base that you have, can access to the data, you can access to the insights of everything, and then you can just grab those guys and open a bank. So that's almost a perfect scenario.
Let me add something on that, because it's important. It's interesting what you said, because if you think, okay, we have CGT has 3.5 million customers. We have 1.8 digital customers, and each day around 1 million access our digital channels. So think about this: if you could enable, and that's one of my beliefs. Really, it's if we open ourselves to new startups, fintechs, and do some kind of cross pollination in bringing them their services and the way they deliver services to this customer base, because we are not the best ones to do everything.
Yes.
And I can give an example. When we launched the open banking solution, we were not the best ones to do APIs and open banking. So we get the fintech that was best in Europe to do that thing, and we partner with them.
Yeah.
So I don't have to have all the skills.
Of
If
course.
you have someone that is doing good job in a certain area, you just partner with them
Exactly.
and offer them your customer base and a good service as they are providing to that customer base. And I think there's a way also, or as legacy banks could evolve. It's open themselves to partnerships with either fintechs, either other kind of companies than fintechs, either kind of industries, and partnership. What I believe really is an open company, a company that doesn't do everything, but partners with the right people and companies to provide the best service to their customers.
The best solution service for the customer.
And instead of developing themselves by itself, and I think we could switch some of our product lines by using other companies that have better solutions for providing those services.
Yeah.
I think and with that, I think we could evolve a lot and survive in this environment of challenges everywhere.
Yeah.
Okay.
Rui, we are almost done, so I have the last two questions for you. So the first question is, what was the biggest lesson that you got in your career? And the second question is, what is your advice for leaders that want to start or are starting in the leadership position? What is your best advice or your advice, let's say, for them that they are starting in a leadership position?
Okay, I think one of the things that be curious about everything, ask everything. Don't
Assume.
don't assume. Exactly, ask everything. Be curious. One of the things that is for me, it's one of the most important lessons is. I'm always keen to understand how that, what's behind that, what's happening there, and why is happening there. So curious about the things and understanding why that is working, what is not working, and having the curiosity is something that I've ever as a mantra. In my life, even if it's an area that I don't know, that I'm not aware of, explore it. If because it's ask yourself why, and that's one of the things. And for a leader, what I can say is that to be also how do you say it? Resilient. Mm-hmm. Resilient is very important quality because it's sometimes you'll fail. Sometimes things are on the verge of failing. Okay, and you have to know where to stop. But before stopping, give it another try. Yeah. Switch a little bit and try it again. So be resilient. And I think it's important for these current times, and namely with the changes that are happening and all this crazy world we are living in. Be resilient. That's one of the major advices I'll give, not just for the CEOs but for all people. Resilience.
And the biggest lesson that you got from your career?
The biggest lesson that I've got from my career.
I always love this one.
Sorry.
I always love this one.
It's the tough one. You should arm me in the beginning. Okay. The biggest lesson I've in my career is take chances. Don't be afraid. Take chances. You have to take chances in life, and that's sometimes we are so cautious and trying to go in the right path. But the right path doesn't leave you on the right way and the right destination. So you have to take risks sometimes. You have to take risks lots of times and rethink things. And that's it's a question of personality. I was since beginning of my youth a very cautious person, and one of the lessons I've learned in the last couple of years is okay, if you take some risks and you assume some risks, probably you'll end up gaining some things and finding some new ways of achieving other kind of things.
The founder of Virgin, Branson, he has I read a couple of books that he wrote. They are very, very interesting. And in one of those books, I read something like, never say no to an opportunity if you think that you are not ready. So say yes, and then you figure out what the heck you should do when you are in this position. But never say no to a really good position just because you believe that you are not ready. And I think that describes pretty nicely what you just said, right? A lot of people tend to say no, oh, I'm not ready, or no, or I don't know, or I'm afraid. So, no, good things come to the ones that are crazy, not the ones that are very cautious, I believe.
Yes, it's better said that, like your citation than what I said before, but that's exactly the spirit of what I tried to say. Great.
Thank you so much. Before we go, I just wanted, if people want to find you, what is the best way to find you? In LinkedIn or?
In LinkedIn, obviously, in LinkedIn, it's the best way to find me. It's nowadays, LinkedIn is the standard of the market.
Cool. So I will leave a link on the show notes for your profile, so if people want to add you. It's always nice to connect if they have any questions. Rui, it was a pleasure. Really, thank you so much. It was really nice to have you here. It was really cool. Always a very interesting topic. And thank you so much for being here.
No, thank you, Luis. It was very nice to speak with you. It was a very nice conversation, and let's keep it rolling. Keep it rolling.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to the Adapt podcast. Head on over to www.adaptmethodology.com/scorecard to benchmark your ability as a leader to adapt your entire organization to the digital era. You will be able to identify plenty of opportunities for leveraged growth.